Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day one of our Change the Way You Age Summit. And our first amazing, incredible woman that's going to kick us off is STACEY LEI KRAUSS. She is the founder and creator of the Willpower Method and Cardio Yoga. She has pioneered barefoot fitness 20 years ago, right? Okay, and she is an absolute maverick who knows and shows how to change the way you age. She's a master trainer for Bosu, Schwinn, and she has traveled the world presenting her programs to international instructors everywhere. My first experience with you, I remember very clearly. I was getting air on my bare feet in the IDEA convention, and it was absolutely unbelievable. And these are the things that make us cry. I think I might have cried like afterwards or whatever. And of course, you are a Vibram representative, and you've completed 2 marathons and 3 half marathons in your barefoot shoes. So let me see now and make sure that I can mute everybody else and unmute you. Welcome, STACEY. Thank you so much for being part of me. Okay, so here we go. Unmute you. So I think I have to ask you to unmute. If you ask me. There you go.
Oh, it's so nice to be given a voice. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anne, for having me here today. I was wondering where we actually first met. I've known Anne for, I don't know, something like 15 years or something crazy like this. And we did meet at the fitness conferences. I've been doing the conference circuit for about 15 or 18 years. And I'm so glad that it was in a barefoot class because Anne and I kind of juggled, okay, which topic, what should we talk about today? And when I looked at the lineup, wow, you guys are in for such a treat. You're very, very lucky. Anne is so well connected, and she's done that because she's just such a lovely person. And she really seeks out, you know, what's new and fresh and what's true. New and fresh can sometimes be, you know, all out here, but Anne's got it down. And, you know, she has taken, when I was trying to figure it out, like, where did we meet? I knew that there had to be, in the early inception of our friendship, there had to be something with the bare feet. And I thought, well, this is a really great topic to talk to you ladies about. So, Anne, thank you for having me here. And I'm so excited for you guys because the topics and the speakers are amazing. So Anne gave me a great introduction, but to let you know where the foot fitness piece came from, I think that's pretty important. So I grew up, my mom put me into little ballet flats when I was 3 years old. And as I grew older, I moved into modern dance. And I've heard people say, oh, you know, I was a barefoot kid, whatever that means. But they use this label, right? We're really big on labels to help us understand who someone is. And people tell me, oh yeah, I was a barefoot kid too. Well, you know, the reality is we all come out of the womb and we're barefoot. And like most animals that don't put on shoes, we actually, our primal bodies work better when we're barefoot because our feet were designed to work for us, right? I was fortunate enough to grow up as a dancer, and being in modern dance, I was barefoot for my sport quite often, and it felt normal to me. So yeah, my mom put me into the stride right shoes, those really structured, you know, confining shoes. She put me into those shoes as early as we were supposed to be, but I was a barefoot kid in that my sport allowed me to be barefoot. As an adult, I transitioned into the fitness industry, and from college age, I've been teaching fitness. So I'm now 51 years old, and so I've been teaching fitness for about 30 years. So when I moved to New York City, I did live there for about 7 years. When I moved to New York City and I was working for Equinox, which some of you might know, is a very spectacular kind of top of the food chain of fitness organization. And at the time, they only had 7 clubs in New York City. Now I think they have 84 throughout the world. But they brought me in to manage the program, the group exercise, the aerobic program. And so as a student, now I was a fitness instructor, but I would go in to take all the classes with all of the best instructors in New York City. And when I would go in to take class as a barefoot kid, I would always leave my shoes off. I would stand in the back of the room and keep my shoes off, and I felt great. I was a mover, you know, I was able to catch air, like Anne said, and, you know, all those other things. But when I would teach my class, of course, I would put on the proper kit. I would put on my shoes and my big poofy socks and, you know, the whole thing, because that was my job. One day I was walking to class on a Saturday morning, you know, walking in New York City. It was during the summertime, and I had on a pair of flip-flops, you know, just sandals. And when I got to the gym, I opened up my bag and I realized, eek, I forgot my shoes, my athletic shoes, back in my apartment. So I said to the class, I was like, well, I'm here, you know, it's Saturday morning. I should teach. I'm not going to not teach today. And I said, I'm going to teach without my shoes on. I hope that's okay with you all. And a few people raised their hand and said, well, you know, is it okay if I take my shoes off too? Well, at the time I was teaching a movement class, a functional fitness class. It did not use dumbbells. We didn't use any equipment in that particular class. So in thinking through the safety of my students, I was like, yeah, you know, we could do this. You could take your shoes off. So I had, I don't know, like 45 people or whatever. It's New York City, right? Classes were packed. So I had about 45 people in class, and I would say about 15 people took their shoes off. I was surprised. That was a sizable amount of people to take their shoes off. I didn't know any better. I had never taught barefoot before, but I was like, sure, take your shoes off. So they took their shoes off and we started moving. And within 5 minutes, there were some major observations from my end. I heard two things. I heard a slapping sound, okay? And I heard a pounding sound. I have nothing to pound. My tenant is not liking that right now, but that pounding sound. So two things, these two, and I didn't know what they meant. I mean, I didn't know, but I did know that, shh, like land quietly. You have to be careful, don't hurt yourself. And that's all I knew back in 1999, right? Don't hurt yourself, land without a sound. I didn't know how to teach that. And I didn't know why they were doing it, because it was intrinsic for me to just land lightly. I was a barefoot kid, right? I was a modern dancer. I kind of knew how to land and how to work my body. So as fitness professionals, two things happen when we see mistakes happening in a classroom. The fitness professional either walks away and says, oh my God, I've got my work cut out for me. Like, oh, they're terrible at this. And that's the mark of a young, fresh trainer that needs to learn. That's an ego trainer, right? Now, the other trainers, which is the majority of our profession, I venture to say, I hope Anne agrees with me, is that when we see movement imbalances or something like this, we see this as an opportunity, right? To teach people how to move better, you know, more fluidly or more gracefully or gently, or, you know, where we can create more strength. Anyway, so that's what triggered me to start to learn a little bit about training barefoot. Well, what I did learn over time was that slapping sense is presented because of an imbalance in the lower leg, right? And then the pounding sound was a disconnect through the neural system on a number of different levels. That took me some time to figure out, because I was young. I was like, you know, whatever, 25 years old or 30. I was 30 actually. I was 30 years old then. Anyway, I went to Equinox and I said, hey, this thing happened this morning and I taught barefoot. Would it be okay if I continue to teach barefoot? And it was a big deal. They had to bring it to upper management because, after all, you have to wear shoes in fitness, right? So they brought it to upper management, but they were very progressive. So they came back to me and they said, well, under these stipulations, if you don't use weights, if you this and this and this. So I was allowed to start teaching fitness barefoot, which seems kind of silly. I mean, doesn't it, that I had to get approval for something like that? Especially, I'm assuming that some of you ladies take Pilates and yoga, right? But those were specialties, right? Mr. Pilates actually taught barefoot work. You know, yoga had always been barefoot, but this was fitness. So silly how we put labels on things. In any event, that started my career as a foot fitness specialist. The term foot fitness didn't even exist until a couple of years ago. I've been using it for years and years. And people say, well, what's foot fitness? Because, ew, I hate feet. I mean, how do you say you hate feet? But in a room of 100 people, I'd say 75 of those people hate feet. Ew, feet are weird. So for the next, let's see, for the next couple of minutes, I'll share with you some of the observations that I've had with foot fitness. And then we'll wrap up with me showing you a foot fitness routine that all of you should be practicing on your own. And you could very easily do this. And I've actually sent Anne a handout with the exercises so that you can practice. Okay, so what is foot fitness? When you go to the gym or to the studio to get your fitness on, right? You go into the gym and you train for flexibility and endurance and strength and coordination and probably for cardiovascular conditioning as well, right? To burn calories, because that's kind of at the top of, you know, calories in, calories out if we want to maintain our weight. That just makes total sense. Let's see, we had a question. I will send the handout to everyone. Thanks, Sam. Okay, so foot fitness is the same. The foot fitness is the same as the rest of your body, but it's just doing it with your feet. Okay, so we gain flexibility, coordination, strength, and endurance. Maybe not burning calories so much, but I guarantee you if you're wiggling your toes on a regular basis, you might burn an extra calorie or two. Maybe not. I don't know. I haven't done that research yet. Okay, so I like to tell people that shoes are where our feet go to die. Okay, isn't that horrible? If you were to break your arm, let's just say you broke your arm, you went to the doctor, he puts you in a cast. Okay, he puts you in a cast for maybe 6 weeks to immobilize your arm, right? So it has time to heal. And after 6 weeks, he'll take the cast off. Now, during that time of immobilization, what has happened to the arm is that your muscles have atrophied, they've gotten weak, right? And your joints have gotten stiff. So when you get the cast off, then he puts you like in a sling or a soft cast and prescribes physiotherapy, right? You go to physiotherapist or physical therapist here in the US. I don't know where you're all calling in from, so I want to make sure I get the terms right. In any event, so he put you in a soft cast and you go and you do this thing, right? And the therapist would say, okay, straighten and bend, and be like, ah, you know, you go back and you'd finally get use of your arm back. And then from the physiotherapist, hopefully you move on and go to the gym, begin to build your strength. Well, let's talk about the components of a good shoe. Okay, a good shoe typically has lots of cushioning. Right? Typically, to keep your ankles safe, there's motion control and stabilizers, right? A small toe box because, well, that's what we like. So stability, cushioning, and a small toe box. Okay, so let's talk about that. The stability and motion control is just like putting your arm in a cast. Okay. You have 33 joints in your foot, and your foot was designed to do two main things: to be a rigid lever, right, for push off, and to be a mobile adapter, right, because we're actually not meant to walk on flat ground all the time, right? Our primal being, we walked on uneven terrain all the time. So that mobile adaptation, that's all the 33 joints. Working like a child, if you've seen an infant, they use their little toes, don't they? When we put our little children into stride right shoes, all of a sudden they walk, right? When they're infants, they crawl and they mobilize with their little primal animal feet. So, you know, at the age of 2 or 3, our parents put us into these caskets and immobilized our feet. And the muscles have atrophied and the joints got stiff. Not to mention the neural connection, right? If there's no movement, we don't even feel our feet. We don't feel our feet, we don't notice our feet until they hurt, do we? Or until like we're putting them up in somebody else's face for them to like do a pedicure for us. People hate their feet because feet are a little bit stinky, but that's because we're putting our shoes over and over and over into this little dark box, and your feet sweat in there. So it gets filled up with bacteria, and that little space starts to smell, and then our feet start to smell. So shoes aren't very safe to begin with. It's not that you have a foot odor problem, you've got a shoe problem, because how often do you wash those shoes? Not very often. So you put your foot into this stable shoe where it can't move, but it's awfully cushioned, and that feels nice, right? But that's not good either. Do you know what that cushioning does? It dampens the ground reactive forces. Okay, so when we touch the ground, our body neurologically understands how hard we should be hitting the ground to keep the rest of our body safe, right? Kinesthetic awareness and proprioceptive awareness, how we react to the environment around us. When we're cushioned, we can't feel. So we start to walk harder. We add impact that we don't need. So we take these feet that are jammed into these little boxes, and now we're walking even harder than we should. And then we jam our feet into a small little toe box and say, oh, do these make my feet look big? Now, traditionally, some parts of our bodies, if they're big, they're celebrated, right? We know the big parts that are celebrated, but not our feet. We want our feet to look small, so we jam them into these little toe boxes, okay? And then we end up with shoe-shaped feet. So when we look at what's happened to our feet systematically, I mean, I wouldn't want to use the word conspiracy because we might get flagged. But because it's ands, I'll say the word just one time. That word, I'll say it one more time, conspiracy. But, you know, there's a documentary out there called Shoespiracy, and it's funded by Vivo Barefoot. Because Vivo Barefoot is owned by Galahad Clark. And if you've ever heard of the Clark shoes, right? Their Clark empire has been in shoes for a long time. Now, I've had dinner with Galahad. Doesn't he sound so magnificent? Galahad. I got nervous just because of his name, because he sounds like a knight. But I had dinner with him, and we've talked about over time. He said, you wouldn't believe how terrible these shoes are for children. They're cushioned, they're strong little boxes, and their toe boxes are small. I said, I know, I've been teaching this to people for years and years and years, and nobody wants to listen because we love our shoes, don't we? We love our shoes, but they're hurting our feet. So this is just the beginning of some observations and what I share with people when I teach trainers how to use their feet. And you know, I teach them to use shoes. This is very dusty. I was just hiking this weekend. This is a Vivo Barefoot shoe that it's a water shoe, so it's all full of holes, right? But when you go to look for shoes that you should be exercising in, you should be able to do this with the shoe. Hey, Ann, can you take a snapshot of this? You don't know how. Okay, that's okay. It's all right. I just thought it would be a good advertising since Vivo's hooking you up.
Maybe you could quickly do a selfie with it and send it to me. That would be awesome.
Okay, I like it. I'll do it. So this is an indicator of a minimal shoe, and you can roll it up and hold it in your hand because there is no cushioning. There's no motion control, and look at how wide the toe box is. It allows your foot to work the way it was meant to work, okay? Really, the only thing that you need when you go exercise, especially in a clean, safe environment like the gym, the only thing that you really need is tread. You need like for some other activities, you just need a little bit of good rubber. Okay, I was just waiting for one person to laugh. Anne got it. So just a little bit of rubber to keep you safe, okay? So when it comes to a shoe, that would be tread so you don't slide, okay? Otherwise, you could just be barefoot. What will happen when you spend more time being barefoot is that, hold it again, Stacy. Yes, thank you, Tracy. Taking the screenshot, yes. Got it? We got to give Anne her props. Thank you, Miss Tracy. Yeah, she loves that stuff. Vivo loves that stuff too. Thank you so much for doing that.
Okay, just real quick, the only other reason why you need it is when you go outside and there's stones and sharp things for the underneath of your foot.
Yeah, but you know what? The more, yes, when you have sensitive feet, yes, you need that little bit of protection, but the more you start to train barefoot, I was in Moab and Sedona this weekend, and I was actually hiking barefoot. And you know, in the beginning, it really hurts, but after a while, it feels really good. And I would say the best part of mobilizing your feet outside with minimal shoes is that you stimulate the long arch. Okay, you hit all the reflexology parts in your long arch, which typically doesn't touch the ground, typically doesn't get mobilized. And you know what that will do for you? It stimulates your digestion and elimination. Every time I walk barefoot outside on uneven terrain, ladies, I have a really, really good poop after that. Every single time. Yep. And I know digestion and elimination is a big deal. So this doesn't affect us. This is not only physical, but the reflexology points that are in your feet are also energetic and emotional. So walking barefoot, I mean, I could go on for hours. It also has grounding effects, but it will also help you to digest and eliminate bad thoughts that you have kind of stuck, right? And of all times in my life, at least, I think now's the time that we need to digest and eliminate any negative things that we're holding on to, right? So just like when you digest and eliminate byproducts through your body that you don't need, we also need to digest and eliminate byproducts that are in our thoughts and emotions, okay? So being barefoot will set you free. And if we look at Anne's topic, change the way you age, the first thing we need to look at is freeing our feet, okay? So the only exception here, I would say, after working with thousands, and I'm not a podiatrist, I'm a foot fitness chick, okay? So if you have a specific problem, I would probably say, well, I can't diagnose, but let's talk about it. The only real issue that I've ever come across are those who have diabetes, who have to really be concerned with bad ankles. We need to train, and I love the term. Okay, let me get back to diabetes and then I'll talk about bad ankles. Diabetes, you know, you have to worry about infection. So that would be a case for maybe wearing grippy socks or wearing a minimal shoe. You just don't want to be completely barefoot because we need to be careful about infection. So what are bad ankles? I mean, I can't tell you how many trainers, personal trainers and instructors have said, oh yeah, well, I like the idea of the shoe, but I really can't do it. You know, I have bad feet. Okay, well, don't call any part of your body bad. You could say injured, you could say weak, you could say untrained, but what do? If you have weak ankles, the peroneal group runs down the outside, the lateral side of your leg, okay? The peroneals or peroneals, tomato, tomato. And those muscles wrap underneath your foot. So the more you mobilize your feet, the more you will strengthen the length of the peroneal group, okay? I mean, basically what you're doing with a shoe on your foot, let me show you what this looks like. So if I was doing a shoulder press, okay, a regular shoulder press would be like this, right? You've got weights in your hand, I'm pressing and I'm pressing. So this is full range of motion, right? I'm working all the way through the joint, okay? When you're working with shoes on and your peroneal group, so say this is your foot and this is your ankle and this is your knee. When you're working in shoes and you're not mobilizing your feet, it would be like doing this with a shoulder press. Just partial range of motion, because you're not working the muscles all the way down through your feet. So one of the reasons that you may, I haven't seen your ankles, I'll work with you. One of the reasons that you may have bad feet is because those muscles are not strong. We haven't built the endurance. They're not coordinated and they're not flexible. They're stiff, they're weak. They've been in shoes for 25 years, 45 years. We just need to condition them in many cases. So what I'm going to do with you now, I would love to keep talking and talking, but I have another meeting coming up soon. So what I'm going to do with you now is we're just going to take 5 minutes, and we're going to exercise our feet. Okay, so what I'd like to do is have you take your shoes and socks off.
A quick pose for me so that I can take a picture of this screen, because I've realized that I can do that.
Okay, you could do that. This is weird, but this is like a fitness thing.
I know, right? There we go. Yay.
Yay. So guys, take your shoes and socks off, please. You won't be sweating. You could still eat your cherries or whatever you're eating there. Are you eating with gloves on? Take your shoes and socks off and please stand up, okay? Because Anne's gonna get this handout to you, but you're gonna want to know what these exercises are. I promise that I will say goodbye and sign off before, let's see, I'll figure it out here before. Okay, so right now, folks, by the way, I'm on a Novoso mat. I know that Anne won't mind very much that I'm promoting this. I can offer you a 20% or 20% discount on my website, Strong Like Silk. But this texture was designed by podiatrist Emily Splickle out of New York City. It is the only scientifically designed texture to stimulate small nerves. So if you've got neuropathies, if you have bad ankles, bad toes, anytime you are on this mat using any part of your mat, it stimulates the proprioceptive awareness to make you stronger and more aware through your skin. Anyway, so I used this mat through 2 broken toes. It's the best thing ever, and I believe in it wholeheartedly. I don't promote things that I don't really believe in. Okay, so welcome to your foot fitness workout. Take your feet just hip distance apart, please, and make sure you're pointing your middle toe forward. Please pardon my very bad pedicure. I did this just for Anne, but I haven't had a real pedicure since COVID, so yikes. Lift all 10 toes up and then lower back down. So lift and lower and lift and lower. So look down at your own feet right now. Once you get the exercise going, the goal would be to get your pinky toe almost as high as your thumb toe. So as we go through these exercises, I just would like for you to observe. No judgment, okay? No judgment. Just see how well you're doing. Because if you cannot do all of these exercises, you need to do them more often. Okay, last one, hold it up. And now spread your toes out wide. Spread them wide. You should see space in between all 10 toes. Yes or no? Okay, so lift and spread and then release. Lift and spread and then release. Lift and spread and then release. Keep going. Now it might help you to use your fingers at the same time because your brain is talking to your extremities, your peripherals, right? Now here's the thing, keep going. You might notice that you've got some toes with separation anxiety. Huh, shoe-shaped feet you got going on there. Hold the next one up, spread, spread, spread. Now the wider your toes are, the better your base of support. Better your base of support, the better balance you're gonna have. Let's tap our big toes down and up. Just the big toe. If you can do this, say it out loud, say, I can. And if you cannot, then you just need to practice these exercises. Okay, so this particular exercise will enhance your ankle strength and mobility. This particular exercise, just by tapping your big toe down and up, you're working through fuller range of motion. How about the pinky toe? Tap your pinky toe down and up, down and up. Now, some of you might be getting frustrated already because your toes aren't listening to you, right? I know, well, our toes aren't very smart. Don't blame them, blame your shoes. Okay, all you have to do is start doing this and your toe smarts will come back pretty fast. Now we'll do pinky, thumb, pinky, thumb, pinky, thumb toe. Now if you notice, ladies, my ankles are not moving. I'm isolating my toes. You want to try to do that the best you can. Okay, now this is the challenge. This is only for advanced toes. Ready? All 10 toes up. Big toe down, pinky toe down. If you can do this, say I can. I think Anne can. I can't really see. Yeah, I saw a thumbs up. A couple of them. That's all right. That's all right. We got to start somewhere. Relax your toes. Okay, rock in and roll out. This is called the rock and roll. Another great exercise for quote unquote bad ankles, right? This is just adding some dynamic flexibility to our ankles. Okay, ladies, hold the posture that is less comfortable for you. Now we're all going to be a little different. And then stack your hips over your ankles so that this position is weighted. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Okay, flat feet. Lift your right heel up and down. This is called a foot fold. Up and down and up and down. Keep going. Up and down, a foot fold. So typically we have limited our mobility because of the shoes that we wear. A minimal shoe will allow you to work through your foot fold. Let's hold the next one up and roll across what I call the landing pad. Okay, the deeper our foot fold, the more efficient our push-off and landings will be. And as we know, as we get older, instead of pushing off and landing properly, we tend to shuffle. Don't want to do that. Take your foot back down, please. Let's do the other side. Up, down, up, down. So practicing your foot fold every day. One set of 10 or 12 will be sufficient as long as you add it to your routine. I always do my foot fitness exercises while I'm brushing my teeth. So it's something you'd have to kind of get the coordinated effort to brush and lift at the same time. But it's a great time to make sure you get it done. This is just waking up all the metatarsal heads. You've got 5 in each foot, and they should each get equal attention. All right, I've only got one more foot fitness exercise for you, and then I've got to be on my way, but this is probably the most important. So lift your toes up and spread them wide, and then place them down on the ground, and it's like a little suction cup with your toes. Okay, so we're going to continue to do this suction cup. Now you might have read some articles or seen some little videos online about making your feet strong, and they tell you to scrunch up a towel, right, or a washcloth, and that kind of looks like this, right, where my toes curl under. You can see the difference when toes curl under. This is how humans manifest fear. We curl up and die. So that's really not what we want to do here. Okay, what we want to do is spread our toes and suction cup. So you want to be able to see your pedicure. Okay, you want to be able to see these little knuckles going to work, and that'll only happen in number 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is probably the most exciting thing for many of you, is that when you practice this exercise, the technical term, the clinical term is short foot. When you engage your short foot, your arch will lift. Okay, there's muscles in there. You can actually, it's just like a tricep. You can lift it right up if you work it. So if you can start to strengthen your feet, you will no longer need those nasty orthotics, which is like a little casket. So this exercise, as I mentioned, it's called short foot, but you'll see it on the handout as smart toes and doming, because you're making a dome with your arch. All right.
So awesome.
So that's your little foot fitness routine. Come back up here.
Oh,
and I've got about 2 minutes to answer any questions for you. Does anybody have any questions?
There's some in the chat box.
There's some in the chat box. I don't see the chat. I don't have a chat right here.
Says, what do you recommend watch you when you stand all day and walk around as a chef?
See, that's when it gets a little bit challenging, right? What do you wear all day long? What I would suggest is wear minimal shoes for a few hours and then put on a more padded shoe later on. Because, those orthotics, if you're not actually exercising your feet actively, those orthotics are going to put your skeleton in the proper alignment. The cushioning will help you to feel better. A wide toe box when you're purchasing shoes, a wide toe box is going to be better than a small toe box. But if you've got a long shift, say an 8-hour shift, if you can keep a pair of minimal shoes and start your day that way, that is what I would suggest.
Gradual progression, just like fitness.
Oh, sorry?
Gradual progression.
Gradual progression, for sure. And could you read me any of the other questions? Because I don't seem to have access to them.
Elaine says, this is fun. We'll do this exercise. Help me put my heels down. And down for downward dog. Yes, exactly, Elaine. That's how you do that. And I
Yes.
said feet because it really hurts. It like works your feet. Works.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to wake up muscles that you didn't even know you had.
I know you have to go, Stacey, but thank you so much. That was so awesome.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let me unmute everyone so you can all give her a, let's see, unmute. Oh, wait.
Oh, you're sweet.
Thank you.
Bye, Marie. Thank you, Julia. Tracy, thanks for the picture. Another Tracy, thank you very much.
Right,
Thank you.
Elaine,
Thanks
and Jeremy, you're welcome. Oh, there's a Jeremy. Sorry, I kept saying ladies. Sorry,
So
sir.
Tracy's in South Africa. Then the other Tracy's in Scotland. And yeah, we're
awesome. Folks, it was really nice to work with you. My website, Strong Like Silk, which I can see right there. Thank you, Julia. I do teach some free foot fitness classes about once a month. I just post them up online. If you want information about the Naboso mat, there's an affiliates page. Yep. Okay. Anna's brushing me off the stage. I could feel the exit music happening. It's all good. Thank you, ladies. Have a wonderful few days. Hopefully, I'll see you in some of these sessions.
Thank you.
You're welcome, loves. Okay. Bye, everybody.